G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. This is a super easy cake recipe to make from ingredients that most people have at home. And it's so colourful, so delicious. So join me today as I make my version of a rainbow crunch ice cream cake. Now we're going to start this off with some white chocolate. Now use any type of white chocolate you like, it's really up to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this into the microwave for 30 seconds at a time, and we're going to stir it each time and put in for another 30 seconds until it's nicely melted. And next I'm going to use some cereal. Now I'm going to use Fruit Loops, but you can use any type of cereal that you like. Basically you just want to get one that's nice and colourful. The more colours, the better it's going to look. Okay, so I've just added our white chocolate to 2 cups of our Fruit Loops. So we just have to give it a very good mix around until everything is well combined and nicely coated. Next I have a standard size springform pan that I just lined with some non-stick baking paper. So just simply place our coated Fruit Loops into our non-stick pan, and before the white chocolate sets, we'll just quickly even it out so it covers the entire base. Now once it's all nice and even, we're going to place this in the freezer while we get started on the rest of the cake. Next, for the main ingredient, the ice cream. Now I have a 2-litre tub here, and what I've done is I've had this in the fridge for about 2 hours just to soften up. And you can make your own ice cream, of course, if you like. And for that, I'll leave a link down below to my ice cream playlist where there are more than enough recipes to choose from. So now into a bowl, I'm going to place in our softened ice cream. Then to that, I'm going to add in another 2 cups of our coloured Fruit Loops. So all you have to do now is just give it a good mix until everything is well combined. Just try not to overmix it because you'll push all the air out of the ice cream. You still want it to remain reasonably fluffy. Okay, once mixed, I've taken our base back out of the freezer. So it's just a simple matter of placing our ice cream onto the base, and we're just going to even it out, just like so. Now before we put it in the freezer, I'm just going to cover it up with some plastic wrap. Just prevents freezer burn. And we're going to place this in the freezer for about 3 to 4 hours to give it a chance to completely set. And there we have our delicious ice cream cake. Now you can use any colourful cereal that you like. The sky's the limit on what you want to use. So try and be as creative as you can, and I know it'll turn out fantastic. But let's be honest, as long as it's colourful, and you choose the cereal that you love the most, this ice cream cake is truly going to taste simply delish. Okay, so this is a very healthy and dairy-free dessert that anyone can make, and all you need is a blender. So we're going to start off with the main ingredient, and that's pineapple. Now, this is just a can of pineapple pieces that I've brought. Now you can use fresh pineapple if you choose, but it's just so much easier to buy the canned, already chopped up pineapple. And what I've done is I've taken the pineapple out of the can, drained as much liquid as I can, and placed it into the freezer overnight. So just place all our frozen pineapple pieces into a blender. And to that I'm going to add 1 cup of almond milk. Now if you can't find almond milk, I'll leave a link down below on how you can make your own. And finally about a tablespoon of honey, just to sweeten it up. And as always, the list of ingredients is down below. Now we're going to pulse it a few times to break up the pineapple. Once it's completely broken up, just put it on high for about 2-3 minutes, just until it's well combined and it's like a nice puree. And there we have it. And look at that, it is lovely and creamy. And with those 3 flavours mixed together, the pineapple, the almond milk, and the dash of honey, let's see what it's like. Oh, that is good. That is a really refreshing dessert. You can even have it as a treat during the day because it's completely guilt-free. So that took me about 2 minutes to make. And the best part is, it tastes simply delish. Okay, so to start this off with, we're going to use some low-fat ricotta. Now if you can't find ricotta where you're from, I'll check the link down below and I'll show you how to make your own. So what we're going to do now is, you can do this in a food processor or a mixer. So whichever way you do it, we want to mix it until it's all broken up and nice and smooth. Okay, now that it's nice and smooth, we're going to pour in our low-fat custard. And as always, the list of ingredients are down in the description. And we're just going to let that mix through for about a minute or so, just until it's well combined. And there we have it, nice and smooth texture. Okay, so next I've got the pulp of 2 mangoes. Just going to place that right in there. And again, you don't have to do this in a mixer, you can also do it in a blender or a food processor. But what we want to do is we want to mix it until it comes up to a nice puree. And you can use canned mangoes if you like. but I highly recommend use fresh ones. Only use canned if you can't find fresh ones in your area or if they're out of season. And there we have it, and look at that, yummy. Okay, so once that's pureed like that, we want to remove about, say, a quarter of it. Not too much, just enough that we're going to put on top of our cups. Now that we've removed a quarter of our puree, we're going to add our cheese mixture back into the bowl. And we're not going to mix it too much, we just want to fold it through. We want to be able to see the difference between the cheese mixture and the mango. We don't want it completely mixed. Okay, so I've got one of our cups here, and simply what I'm going to do is just spoon some of our mixture inside the cup till it's about, say, 3/4 of the way full. And once we've got it up to the right level, we're just going to get some of our puree and we're just going to dress up the top of it just with our mango puree. And there we have it, an incredibly simple and easy, yet this is going to be one tasty cheesecake in a mug. So altogether, I'd say I probably spent no more than 5 minutes putting these together. And they are best served chilled, so once you make them, put them back in the fridge for a couple of hours until they're ready to be served. So that's enough of that, let's try one right now. Oh, I love mango. Oh my. Oh, that is just so creamy. So it's obviously not a firm cheesecake, and that's fine because I wasn't going for that. It's more of a creamy, delicious dessert. It is that type of recipe where you can just slowly eat it and then really enjoy those cheese and mango flavors. And this is a dessert where I can truly say they taste simply delish. Okay, so we're going to start off with a main ingredient, and that is our coffee. Now you can do it any way you like. If you have an espresso machine like this, you want the equivalent of 2 shots of coffee. But of course you can use any type that you like. You can also use the freeze-dried instant type stuff that you can buy from the shops. And you can make it as strong as you like. Okay, so now that we've brewed our coffee, I'm going to place this in the fridge for about half an hour, just so it can completely chill. Okay, now that our coffee has cooled down in the fridge, into a mixing bowl I'm going to pour in 600 ml of thickened cream. It's also called whipping cream or double cream or heavy cream. Now using a hand mixer or a stand mixer, we're going to whip this up until soft peaks start to form. Okay, so we now have some lovely soft peaks. Okay, so next we're going to pour in 395 grams or 1 tin of sweetened condensed milk. And then on top of that, our coffee. Okay, so now we're going to mix that through until it's well combined and slightly thicker. And there we have it. Now that is nice and fluffy, and that is exactly how you want it. Okay, so all you have to do now is just pour it into a container that comes with a lid that you can seal in place in the freezer. Okay, so you're going to place the lid on, and we're going to place this into the freezer for about 6 to 8 hours, or preferably overnight. Okay, and there we have it, our lovely ice cream coffee. So it was only 3 ingredients, and it was very simple to make, and you didn't need a churner as well. But the best thing is, I want to see what this tastes like. Oh, that is so good. Now, as a lot of you would already know, I love coffee. And who doesn't love ice cream? So this really is a match made in heaven. I don't usually do this, but I'm going in for a second taste because this is really good. This coffee ice cream truly does taste simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. I've made a number of fudge recipes in the past. This one's a little bit different, but it tastes just as good, if not better. So join me today as I make my version of Jaffa Fudge. So this recipe certainly is incredibly simple, and we're going to start off by melting together our first 2 ingredients. So into a microwave safe bowl, I have 2.5 cups of chocolate chips, but you can use any type of chocolate that you like. It's completely up to you. And to that I'm going to add in 395 grams or 1 tin of sweetened condensed milk. So all we have to do now is place this into the microwave, and we're going to place it in for 30 seconds at a time, and we're going to stir it each time until it's completely melted and well combined. Okay, so as you can see, it is now nice and melted and well combined. So our final ingredient is some orange zest. Now technically this isn't counted as an ingredient, so it's more like a 2 ingredient fudge, because you can make it as 2 ingredients and it'll just be a perfect and lovely tasting chocolate fudge. because normally colours and flavours like this aren't counted as an ingredient. But I'm just calling it a 3 ingredient just to stop any confusion. So just give that orange zest a very good mix in. Now you can use orange flavour if you like, but honestly, the zest is the best flavour that you'll possibly get for an orange flavour. Now once it's all mixed, I have a baking tray here that I've just lined with baking paper. So just simply place our fudge mixture into our tray and just even it all out. Okay, so once it's all nice and flat, we're just going to simply place this in the fridge for a couple of hours to completely set. Now there we have some lovely and delicious Jaffa Fudge. Now it's the mixture of the chocolate and the orange that makes that lovely Jaffa taste. And this truly is an incredibly simple fudge recipe to make. And just to dress them up a little bit more, I've just sprinkled a little bit of orange zest on each single piece. So it not only makes it look better, it also adds another lovely orange taste to this delicious fudge. But no matter whether you garnish it with some orange zest or not, this Jaffa Fudge is going to taste simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. One ingredient that's always looked over on cakes and desserts is pineapple, but it really does work so well, and this is a super easy recipe to try it in. So join me today as I make my version of a 3 ingredient pineapple cake. Now we're going to start this cake off with some self-raising flour. Now I have 2 cups here in a bowl. Now if you don't have self-raising flour, just use 2 cups of normal flour and add about a tablespoon of baking powder to it. So to our flour, I'm going to add in 1 cup of sugar and then 1 450 gram can of crushed pineapples and put juice and all into them as well. So just thoroughly mix it through until we get to a nice consistent batter. Okay, next I have a lined and greased springform pan. So just simply place our batter into our springform pan. And how simple was that to prepare? So all we have to do now is place this into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 40 minutes. Okay, so I've let it cool down for about half an hour, and there we have a delicious 3 ingredient pineapple cake. Now just look at how fluffy and delicious that has turned out. So it's not only nice and fluffy, it's still moist, and with that lovely taste of pineapple throughout, this 3 ingredient pineapple cake is going to taste simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. Who said fruitcake is just for Christmas? You can make it any time of the year because it still tastes fantastic. And this one's super easy to make. So join me today as I make my version of a 3 ingredient fruitcake. Now I'm going to start this recipe off by soaking and softening our dried fruit. So into a mixing bowl, I'm going to pour in 1 kilo of dried mixed fruit. And then to that, I'm going to add in 2 cups of juice. Now you can use any flavour that you like. Personally, I'm going for a tropical blend. So just give that a quick mix, just to get everything all nice and soaked in that juice. And we're just going to let this sit here for a good 2 hours to completely soak. Now I've had the fruit soaking for 2 hours. So our third and final ingredient is 2 cups of self-raising flour. Or you can use normal flour with 2 tablespoons of baking powder. So all you have to simply do is just mix it through until it's all well combined. Now finally I have a greased and lined springform pan. So just place our mixture into our springform pan. Okay, now we're going to place this into a preheated oven at 130 degrees Celsius or 270 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. Now our fruitcake is out of the oven, I've let it cool down, and the smell that is filling the kitchen is unbelievable. It is a really lovely fruity smell. And I know it's hard to believe, but I made this entire cake out of just 3 ingredients and it's turned out fantastic. So of course you can change the recipe slightly by using different types of juices, but as long as you use it in the right amounts, I'm certain no matter what type of juice you use, it's going to taste simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. This is a very simple recipe to make. It's an emergency recipe to make if you've only got a few ingredients around and you really need pasta sauce. So join me today as I make my version of a 3 ingredient pasta sauce. Now this is a very simple base and it'll work with any type of pasta. And as this is just the base, feel free to add any type of herbs that you like. But what I've got now is a pot on the stove on a medium heat. So to that I'm going to add in 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Now feel free to use pureed tomatoes if you like. I like to dice just because it adds a little bit of extra texture. Then about 4 tablespoons or half a stick of butter. And we're just going to give it a bit of a stir and we're going to let it come up to a simmer. Okay, so now the butter is melted. I have 1 large onion, so I'm just going to place that right in. Now if you can't find large onions, use 2 small ones. And what I've done is cut it in half, and we're just simply going to let it sit in the sauce like so. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place on a lid, and I'm going to turn it down to a simmer, and we're just going to let that simmer away for 50 minutes. And every, say, 15 minutes, just give it a quick stir. And then after 50 minutes, it's ready to serve. Now I've just served up our pasta sauce with some pasta. Now as I said, this is more of a base, so you can add other herbs and spices, for example salt, pepper, or anything else that you like. And honestly, you can have it just as is, just with some pasta. Or you can place it into any dish that asks for pasta sauce. So it really is up to you if you add any salt or pepper or herbs to it, but either way, in a pasta dish or recipe, it's still going to taste simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. This is a fantastic little recipe to make. You can keep it in a sealed container, take it with you on the road, or have it as a snack once in a while. And it tastes fantastic. So join me today as I make my version of a 3-ingredient energy bar. Now for this I'm going to use a food processor, that'll work best, but you can also use a blender. So now into the food processor I'm going to place in 1 cup of dried dates. Now with this recipe I'm saying it's 3 ingredients because you're using 3 different packets. So when it comes to the nuts, you can use 1 single nut, or you can be like me, I'm using a packet of mixed nuts. So just choose your favorites, or as I said, you can go for the mixed, just make sure they're roasted. And our final ingredient is 1 cup of mixed fruit. And again, these all come in 1 particular packet. So now we're going to pulse it through a few times to break it all up. And then we're going to keep it on low and process it for about 2 minutes until it comes up to sort of like a sticky paste. Okay, so as you can see, it's starting to form into a ball, into 1 big sticky mass. Now that's exactly how you want it, and that means it's ready. Now I've just got a lined baking tray, so we're just going to place our mixture onto the tray and just simply push it down to the desired thickness that you're after. So you don't have to fill up the whole tray. Okay, so once done, just simply place them into the fridge for a couple of hours to give it a chance to harden up. So I've just taken them out of the fridge, cut them up, and there we have some delicious and healthy little energy snacks. Now the main thing to remember about this is that the only sugar is all the natural sugar from the fruit. So there's absolutely no processed sugar in this recipe whatsoever. And I really love the contrast between the taste of the nuts and the fruit. Now I'm not a huge fan of nuts by themselves, I can't just sit there and just eat nuts. But when you mix them in with this lovely dried fruit, honestly I love it and I think it tastes simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. This is a fantastic recipe that not only tastes great, but it's good at the last minute when you're suddenly out of time. So join me today as I make my version of a 3-ingredient potato bake. So to start off with, into a container, I'm going to place in about 2 cups of thickened cream or whipping cream. And then we're just simply going to place in 1 packet of French onion soup. And give it a very good mix around until it's well combined. So next we're going to pour in just a little bit of our cream mixture into a baking dish. And I've also sliced up 6 potatoes. So we're going to place on a thin layer just on top of our cream here on the base. And then on top of that first layer, I'm going to place on some more cream and just spread it out a bit. Then another layer of potatoes and of course another layer of cream. And we're just going to keep on doing that until we've used up all the potatoes. And once done, just simply place it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Now we have, fresh out of the oven, an incredibly simple yet fantastically tasty 3-ingredient potato bake. So as a side, this works incredibly well, especially with the French onion soup. It's a slight different taste than a normal one, but it just works so well. But the only thing that really matters is, even though it just takes a few minutes to prepare, it still tastes simply delish. We're going to start this off with a star ingredient, and that's about 20 Oreo cookies. And I've just placed them into a Ziploc bag. So with a rolling pin, just feel free to let out your frustrations. And we're going to break them up until they're nice and fine, but also leave some larger bits in there for texture. Now for our second ingredient, I'm going to use some whipping cream. So just pour 2 cups into a mixing bowl. And all we have to do is whip it up until we get to the soft peak stage. Once at the soft peak stage, we're going to pour in 1 standard can of sweetened condensed milk. Then whisk it through until it's well combined. Now once combined, we're going to place in our third and final ingredient, and that's our crushed Oreo cookies. Then whisk it through just for a few seconds until it's just combined. So now it's just a simple matter of placing our ice cream mixture into a container and sealing it up so it's nice and tight, and we're going to place this into the freezer for about 3 to 4 hours to completely set. Now I've had our Oreo ice cream in the freezer for a few hours now and it's ready. Now mine's come up a little bit darker because I put it through an ice cream churner simply to speed up the process for this video. But honestly, it is not necessary. The only difference between using a churner and not using a churner is time. This ice cream has come out nice and creamy, nice and fluffy, and you really do enjoy that Oreo goodness. So it's not only an incredibly simple 3 ingredient Oreo ice cream to make, it also tastes simply delish. Now this is certainly the easiest cupcake recipe I have ever made, yet it's also incredibly tasty too, because you only need a simple 3 ingredients. And to start off with, we're going to add in 1 cup of Nutella, followed by 3/4 of a cup of self-raising flour. Of course, if you only have normal flour, just add about a teaspoon of baking powder to it. And finally, 2 eggs. And with a hand or stand mixer, give it a good mix until it's completely combined. Now that it's all mixed through, I have some cupcake holders here, and we're just going to fill each one 3/4 of the way up with our mix. Okay, once done, I'm going to place it into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 25 minutes, and you'll know they're ready when you tap them on top and they spring back. And there we have our lovely and delicious 3 ingredient Nutella cupcakes. Now I've just placed a bit more Nutella on top just to spruce it up a little bit, but it's still part of the 3 ingredients, so it still counts. So it's come out as a very fluffy yet delicious texture. The great thing about this is there's also no added sugar apart from, of course, what's in the Nutella. And for 3 ingredients and about 2 or 3 minutes to prepare, you can't go wrong because these Nutella cupcakes taste simply delish. With just 3 simple ingredients, these macaroons will have your guests asking for more. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. If you've never tried a macaroon before, you're really missing out. They're very easy to make and delicious. So I'm going to introduce you to a simple way to make them. So join me today as I make my version of a 3 ingredient macaroon. Now this is truly the simplest macaroon recipe you'll ever make, because with just 3 ingredients into a bowl, I'm going to place in 200 grams or 7 ounces of dried flaked coconut. Then everyone's favourite ingredient, 1 can or 300 grams of sweetened condensed milk. And then for our macaroon flavour, about 1.5 teaspoons of almond extract. And all you simply have to do is just give it a good mix until everything is well combined. Now once mixed, we're going to grab about say a teaspoon worth of our macaroon mixture, just put it into a little bowl and place it onto a greased baking tray. Okay, so once done, we're going to place this into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're going to place them in for about 10 to 12 minutes, and you know they're ready when they just start to go brown on the outside. And there we have it, incredibly simple and easy 3 ingredient macaroon recipe. And see how they're just slightly browned on the outside? That's exactly how you want it, and that means they're perfect. So it certainly is the easiest macaroon recipe you'll ever make, but it's also a very tasty version as well. And with just 3 simple ingredients, when you get stuck into these macaroons, they're going to taste simply delish. Now get those taste buds ready because this easy 3 ingredient pie is simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. 3 ingredients and this is a delicious pie that anyone can make. It's so simple, so yummy, and it's incredibly healthy too, in moderation of course. So join me today as I make my version of a 3 ingredient yogurt pie. Now for our first ingredient, you can start off with any flavour yogurt that you like. I'm going to choose a non-fat strawberry yogurt. But that's what I love about this recipe, is you can choose any flavour that you like. So you can make any flavoured pie that you like. So into a bowl, we're going to place in our strawberry yogurt. So this is about 12 ounces or about 340 grams or even half a litre of non-fat strawberry yogurt. And then on top of that, I'm going to add 8 ounces or about 300 mils of low-fat cream. Just say whipping cream or thickened cream or double cream. But try and get a low-fat one if you can, but it's not a big issue if you don't. And with our 2 ingredients in the bowl, just get a whisk and we're going to give it a good whisk until it's well combined. That's how simple this is. And for our final ingredient, the simplest thing that you can buy at the shops, a pre-made pie base. Now there are 2 different types. Make sure you get the sweet version because the savoury version obviously just doesn't work as well. And you'll be able to find these at any good supermarket in the freezer section. Now there's no need to defrost this base. All we have to do now is just simply pour in our yogurt and cream mixture. And lastly, this is completely optional and it is honestly not needed, but I just happen to have some frozen strawberries. So I'm just going to just place some just into our pie like so. Again, completely optional, not needed. It's more of a garnish of anything because you've already got that lovely strawberry taste from the yogurt. Okay, now all you have to do is simply place this into the freezer for about a good 3 hours to completely set. Okay, so I've taken it out of the freezer. It's been in there for about 3 hours and it's set and it's ready to slice up and it looks fantastic. And it really is just a very simple 3 ingredient recipe. Now you could say adding the extra strawberries at the end was 4 ingredients, but there's already strawberries in the yogurt. I just increased them, but it's completely optional. I just like to do it because it looks a lot better, and you must agree it does. So when you go to serve it, let it sit at room temperature for about 5 minutes just to soften up slightly. And then it's ready to go and it's a fantastic cold dessert on a hot day or even a cold day. But honestly, no matter whether you add the extra strawberries or not, either way, it's going to taste simply delish. Now get those taste buds ready because these pizza waffles literally take a few minutes to prepare and cook and they taste simply delish. G'day, welcome to Todd's Kitchen. Who said a waffle maker is just for yummy desserts? Yummy waffles, they're delish. But I'm going to show you how to make a dinner or a savoury dish at the same time. So join me today as I make my version of pizza waffles. Now we're going to start this off with a sheet of puff pastry. Now you can use puff pastry if you sell it in your country. But for say America, I know you can get puff pastry there, but you can also use that crescent roll stuff. It works pretty much the same way. And we want to cut up our puff pastry to the size of our waffle iron or waffle maker. It's about the right size, so I'm just going to cut it into 4 equal squares, which will make 2 waffles. And we want to put our toppings on just one side because obviously the other side is going to be the top. Now you can use whatever ingredients you like, but I'm not going to put the sauce on. So first of all, I'm just going to put on some mozzarella cheese. Just spread it out a little bit. And on top of that, just some salami. And again, use any topping that you like. So just simply place our second piece just on top and just going to push down just on the outer edges a little bit just to help keep all those ingredients inside. And we're going to do the same for the other one as well. Now the main reason I'm putting the sauce on first is because when you put it on the waffle iron, it's going to compress down a bit, and honestly it's just going to squeeze out all the pizza sauce, so it's going to be a lot drier. So I'm going to show you a little trick so we still get the same lovely pizza taste, but with the sauce instead of without. Okay, so with our waffle iron, make sure it's completely warmed up, so just give it a quick grease, just got some cooking spray oil, just to prevent any sticking. And I'm just going to place our pizza waffles onto our iron. Doesn't matter if they hang over a little bit. Now with our waffle iron closed, we're going to cook this for about 5 minutes. Basically when it's nice and brown on the outside and the cheese is completely melted. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes and look at those pizza waffles. And there we have our delicious and crunchy pizza waffles. Now I'm choosing to use a pizza sauce on the side. Now you can make one yourself or you can buy the sauce from the shops pre-made. But if you want to make your own pizza sauce as well, I'll leave a link in the description below to my pizza playlist where you'll find my recipe for pizza sauce and many other delicious pizza recipes. So the best part is, this is a fantastic treat to make now and then. And by using the puff pastry, it's nice and crispy, so it gives it that light texture. But when you add your own ingredients and that pizza sauce, this tastes simply delish. So for a quick snack, or even a quick dinner, whip these up because I guarantee you will absolutely love them. So thank you for watching this episode of Todd's Kitchen. As always, I'll leave a list of ingredients down below in the description, as well as links to my Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Home Handy Hints channel. And please do me a massive favour by giving this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for another delicious recipe.